Sabah al-Khair. Right now we're going to talk about derived Arabic verb form 8, or what we would call in Arabic Wazn ifta'ala, after its past tense conjugation. To construct Wazn ifta'ala, we add an alif with a kasra before the first letter of our judr, or root, represented by fa, ayn, lam, and then we add a ta after it in the past tense. So we wind up with ifta'ala. In the present tense, just like with all the other verb forms 7 through 10, we drop that alif and it disappears, but we do keep the ta in the middle. So we wind up with yafta'il. And notice that we have a kasra on our second root letter here. Yafta'il. In terms of meaning, form 8 is kind of the grab bag of the awzan. It's a very common pattern. We get a lot of useful verbs from it, but there's no one consistent pattern of meaning that we can ascribe to it. In fact, a lot of the verbs that we get from this pattern are very close to, if not exactly synonymous with, the form 1 verbs. Here are a couple of examples. You probably know the form 1 verb yasma', which means hear. And in form 8, we take our sin, mim, and ayn, and we put it into that pattern, and we wind up with yastami'. A verb which means to listen. So they're very close in meaning, and we could probably get away with using one instead of the other in a lot of cases, not all, right? Sometimes the distinction is important. Sometimes we can listen without hearing, or hear without listening, vice versa. Another good example would be the form 1 verb yajma', which means to gather, like gathering apples in a basket or papers in a binder, something like that. And in form 8, we can take the same judr and wind up with yajtami'. Which is a verb that specifically means getting together, as in a group of individuals. Najtami', we all get together. In fact, the masdar of form 8 in this verb, ijtima'a, would be a very normal way in Arabic to refer to a meeting in the sense of a business meeting or a get-together for the purpose of accomplishing a specific thing. One little wrinkle that we want to be aware of is that form 8 verbs often don't take direct objects. We can't put a noun right after them. A lot of the time, more so than other patterns where it's a little more unpredictable, we tend to need a preposition. And the preposition tends to be specific. So part of our process of memorizing form 8 verbs needs to be thinking about what the preposition is that goes with these verbs. For example, just as in English, I can't listen music. That sounds a little bit wrong. I listen to music. So in Arabic, we have a specific preposition that goes just with that verb. Astami'a or yastami'a ila al-musiqa or ila al-radio, etc. If I'm talking about getting together, just as in English, I get together with people. And in Arabic, if I wanted to express that idea, and I wouldn't always need the preposition, I could probably say, نحن نجتمع, we get together. But if I wanted to say, I will get together with my friends, then I would need to use the preposition مع. So, سأجتمع مع أصدقائي. Prepositions are pretty unpredictable, just as they are in most languages. So when I see a Form 8 verb, especially if I don't know it, if I don't feel very familiar with it, I need to ask myself, is there a preposition? What is that preposition? Maybe I should learn it as part of the process of learning that verb.